Welcome back to Open School. I am Dr. Andrews, Professor of Medicine, Consultant Neurologist. Today I'll be discussing about aphasia, anatomy, the difference between language and speech. What is aphasia? Aphasia is an acquired disorder of language, where the production, comprehension of spoken and written language are affected due to damage, most commonly due to stroke. So it's a brain disorder, a cortical problem. Aphasia is not a disorder of speech or articulation, but a disorder of language system. That's the point to remember. So what is the difference between speech and language? Speech is the physical act of speaking. It includes articulation, fluency and voice. Disorders are dysarthria and apraxia, about which we will discuss later. Whereas language is the symbolization of ideas or the system for communication. It is called semantics, syntax, phonology, and the disorder is aphasia. So basically remember that the language dysfunction is aphasia and the articulated disorder is a speech abnormality. A patient with slurred speech, preserved grammar likely has got a dysarthria. So in dysarthric patient, the language structure is normal. The written speech will be normal. Whereas a patient with aphasia can have disorders of the language, the grammar will be lost, or the patient can have comprehension problem, so about which we will discuss. So the neuroanatomy, basically the anterior part is motor and posterior part is sensory, just like in any other functions of brain. So the speech areas in the localizational view is situated in the left perisylvian region. So this is a sylvian fissure. In the inferior frontal convolution, area 44 and 45 is the Broca's area, and the superior temporal convolution, area 22 is the Wernicke's area. Other related areas, the supramarginal gyrus and the angular gyrus. Supramarginal gyrus is important for the phonological processing, and the angular gyrus is important for reading purpose. The theories we will discuss later. So there is a Broca's area, there is a Wernicke's area, and there is a connection fiber that is called the arcuate fasciculus. This is in 95% of right-handed people, it is on the left side. So that is why left hemisphere is considered as the dominant hemisphere. Even in left-handed people, around 60% or majority, the speech center is still on the left side. Hope this point is clear. And a minority will have bilaterally represented. Speech area can be represented bilaterally also. So this is the Paul Wernicke, this is the Carl Wernicke, and this is the Paul Broca's. Now we go to the major types of aphasia as per the Boston classification. I already mentioned that when the speech centers are affected, when the Broca's area is affected, it is motor, it is the motor speech disorder or the Broca's aphasia. When the Wernicke area 22, Brodmann is affected, it is a comprehension area and it produces the classical Wernicke's aphasia. When both are lost, that is the motor part and the sensory part or the comprehension is lost, it becomes the global aphasia. Only the connecting pathway, the arcuate fasciculus is lost, it becomes what is called conduction aphasia. What are the major features of Broca's aphasia? Broca's aphasia is the motor part. So the fluency will be lost. Non-fluent agrammatic speech. But they will have, as the Wernicke area is normal, they will have good comprehension. Wernicke's aphasia is the polar spectrum, other end, where the comprehension is lost, whereas the fluency, as the Broca's area is normal, fluency is preserved. So here what happens, the language will be dysfunctional, patient will have good fluency, lot of errors in the speech, they produce new words or new neologism, they substitute words, and finally the language becomes a jargon. So that is why this aphasia is called jargon aphasia. When any of these, that is Broca's area, the connecting arcuate fasciculus or Wernicke's area is affected, the repetition will be impaired. All these three, repetition is impaired. So we will go to this is the chart showing the major aphasias. So there is one more, this anomic aphasia. The major problem is only the naming difficulty. Hope this is clear. So Broca's aphasia is a agrammatic non-fluent speech. Wernicke's aphasia is a jargon aphasia, lack of fluency. Global aphasia, when there is a fluency is lost and the comprehension is lost. Conduction aphasia, only the repetition is impaired. These aphasias are the major aphasias. There is one more type of aphasia called the Transcortical aphasia, which we will discuss later. So Broca's aphasia, typically it is agrammatic, only nouns and words are there. I want cup, water, ritual, something like that the patient is. So that they will be able to communicate, they will have good comprehension. The lesion is in the left inferior frontal gyrus, the upper division of the upper division branch of the cerebral artery is affected. Whereas in a Wernicke aphasia, the jargon, the patient doesn't understand what they are talking, you can't understand what the patient is telling. So it is in the posterior superior temporal gyrus. In Broca's aphasia, usually it is associated with the hemiplegia because it is the motor cortex, the upper division of the metacerebral artery is affected. Whereas when the lower division of the metacerebral artery is affected, there is no motor deficit because it is only temporal lobe is affected. So this can be confused as psychiatric problem or delirium. That is the importance of the Wernicke's aphasia. Conduction aphasia, already we have mentioned, this lesion in the arcuate fasciculus, speech is fluent, good comprehension, but repetition is affected. So each type of aphasia provides a clue to the underlying neuroanatomical localization. So today we have learned the anatomical basis of language disorder, that is aphasia. What is the difference between speech disorder and language disorder? And in the next session we will discuss the theories of aphasia and the Gershwin model of aphasia and how to examine a patient with aphasia. Hope it was useful to you. Stay tuned. Thank you.